All right, we are live. What's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is 3 Buck Theater. Today is the 23rd of January, 2018. Got a lot of stories to cover today, like a great deal of stuff to cover today. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. Because after I was done yesterday, like a whole bunch of news dropped, and I was like, for tomorrow. And then today there's a whole bunch of news, and some stuff's got to go for tomorrow so we don't overload it, so I don't keep this thing running for longer than roughly about an hour, because I think that works for you, and it definitely works for me, because I've already recorded a buttload of videos for the main channel. My voice is already kind of feeling it. But hey, what's going on, everyone? What's going on, Burnout S3S3? What's going on, Edgy Lestrange? What's going on, MCOC Josh? What's up, Jack? Yeah, I'm a filthy plagiarist for that guy copying my video whole cloth. Someone ripped off one of my videos. This happens frequently, by the way. Ripped off one of my videos and then re-uploaded it and then watermarked it with his channel name. It's like a new channel, but it's again one of those ones that's trying to get the 4,000 hours and the 1,000 subscribers. So that's like the only good thing to come out of this entire new YouTube change, is the fact that that's going to be a thing. So it's going to be, I think, a fair amount of fun times ahead for those kind of channels. And ultimately, that's better for people who want to do this live. Simply because I think that's going to be good. Okay, I'm just cool, checking that. We're good there. So, all right. Let's give it a couple minutes to get some people in here. Hey, what's up, Zachary? How are you? Karmazov, if I'm saying that correctly. Greetings to you. How is Poland these days? Chaos X, not too much going on. Luke Stone, thank you very much. I appreciate you liking the channel. I like doing this more than anything else on YouTube. I do. I have a lot more fun jumping into talking about movies and stuff. I feel like it's always a lot more of a fun conversation, and that way we can, you know, do it live, and as Bill O'Reilly once said. So, thoughts on Paramount greenlighting a Loud House movie February. I don't know what that is, Brandon. I haven't seen that article. I'm not saying it's not real. I don't know what that is. So if you want to send that over, mundanemat.com/submit would be a great way to send that article to me. I can take a look at it. What's going on, Nathan? How are you, man? On the docket today, we're going to be clearly talking about the Oscars. We're going to be talking about a RoboCop sequel. There's also a news story that just dropped about the Barbie movie, like literally just dropped. So I actually booted one story that I was going to do to talk about that one. There's also the John Cena Duke Nukem news, which I really, really, really like, and a couple other things. So it's definitely going to work out better. Streaming while stuff. Oh, you're watching while you're stuck in traffic. I hope this makes your drive a lot better, man. So let's see here. How's the little one? Little one's fine. She was up till like 4 in the morning last night. I had to get up at 7 because my girlfriend had to go to a doctor appointment. Then she, you know, I've been up. The reason why I'm so late today is because I was up off and on until around noon, or until about like 8, 9 o'clock this morning, and I finally got a bit of a nap, so I got a bit of a late start, and then I had to watch the daughter again. So, hey, Dark Truth, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for finding the channel recently and liking it. So there's also that fake trailer for a Friends movie. I watched that, Aussie Nick, and I turned it off halfway through. I'm like, it's dumb. So what's going on, Crypto Zoo? How are you? Yeah, I wanted to stream a couple hours ago. We'll see how 4 p.m. does. If later in the afternoon works better, then I might just do later in the afternoon. So that could work out. We'll give us a couple more minutes, let people pop on in, because I put the word out on the different streams. So what do you think about that Dundee teaser? I think the Dundee teaser is pretty funny, Jared. I do. I think the Dundee teaser is pretty good. I liked the Chris Evans one, where he's a tour guide. I don't know if this is a real movie or if this is a fake movie. I have no idea what's going on. Apparently Paul Hogan, the original Crocodile Dundee, has made comments about it being a realistic thing. So I don't know. Danny McBride as the son of Crocodile Dundee just seems weird to me, but I'm not against it. Jack's convinced that I'm a robot with no need for real sleep. Maybe. I work a lot, man, but I like what I do. And I just got greenlit to join another platform that I'll be working on. What's going on, Joe Cronin Show? Dead or alive? Yep, that's right. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. I fucking hope, man, that Weller is in it. I do. I'd love Paul Verhoeven to come back, right? Or, I mean, I know Irving Kershner, I think, is dead, but like Frank Miller could write the script. I'm just saying, like, perfect world, perfect world would be that. But that being said, RoboCop, the 2014 reboot of RoboCop, I actually really, really liked. It was better than it had any reason to be. So, there's what's my idea for the Monsterverse? I would have to sit there and really kind of plot it out, but there's a new Nightmare on Elm Street trailer. I didn't know that they were rebooting it. Joseph, yeah, it's not on the main channel, man. It's on my side channel. What are my thoughts on the Monsterverse? I've talked about this before, Jose. I like the concept. Universal just really needs to bring in someone who gets it. So there's that. New fathers are robots. That's just a fact. Yeah, it's true. Sleep is not what I'm getting lately. So I wish there was yeah, more sleep that could happen. All right. Oops. Want to bring that up there. There's the chat. Okay. Yeah, I know the Mighty Ducks TV show. That was a story I was going to cover today, but I ended up bumping it for something else. But yeah, the Mighty Ducks TV show, I'm not against it, to be honest with you, man. I love those movies. So, oh, the Monsterverse is about Godzilla. Oh shit, I get them. Man, there's so many now. I'm thinking, sorry, Dark Universe. Monsterverse is I know Adam Wingard, who's directing Kong versus Godzilla. I don't know him like super personally, but like I've known him. We've been friends on Facebook for a while. So you make. Hold on, you just makes videos 7 channels. Oh, what Joe Cronin? You have 7 channels. Is that what you're saying? The Mighty Ducks cartoon was, oh yeah, it was way, I remember the Mighty Ducks cartoon, like alien ducks. You know what, man? It worked. It totes worked. All right. Did I ever watch Sketsmysja, a 1984 Polish sci-fi comedy? Think Fallout 4 meets feminism. If it's dubbed in English or at least subtitled, I could check it out. I'm not against that. So yeah, you want Get Out to win the best Academy Award for Best Picture? Get Out would, I think, is a good contender. I don't think it's going to win, but I think it's a good contender. It's a contender because of Moonlight. People think it's going to win probably because of Moonlight. I'll talk about that. So, Hugh should have leaned on Logan instead of Great Showman. Yeah, but that was Fox too. Oh yeah. You got 3 kids and several channels in the podcast. The struggle, man. The struggle is real. Yeah, I've got 158,000 subs on my main channel. And this just crossed 17,000 subs yesterday. This channel did. So in less than a year, it's popped. I'm hoping to get 20,000 subs, by the end of February, which would be about a year of starting the channel, which would be fantastic. I just got to find more Star Wars news, and that should generally help because Star Wars content does really well. You think 3 Billboards is going to win? I haven't seen it yet. I do want to, though. I haven't seen Netflix Godzilla, but it's on my list. I might watch it later today while I've got downtime. So, Get Out is just Stepford Wives. Oh, really? I need to watch Netflix Godzilla, but I'll review it when I do. I will review it when I do. Phantom Thread might win because it's P.T. Anderson and it's Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie. Was he? I don't even know if he was nominated for best actor. Thoughts on Ferdinand winning an Oscar? Yeah, Ferdinand's not gonna beat out Coco. So, when is Batman by Gaslight? Isn't it Gotham by Gaslight? Old Samuel, isn't that? When does that come out anyway? That should be coming out pretty soon, right? I did hear about the Han Solo trailer tomorrow. Supposedly is the rumor. And trust me, I will do a reaction live. We'll do a live reaction on it, and then I'll probably do a breakdown video on it. Oh, I'm just gonna let you guys know. I'll probably be milking the fuck out of Solo stuff. Do I talk about movies or do I like television shows as well? Zachary, I do talk about television stuff when it comes up. I feel like there hasn't been a lot. I know Altered Carbon comes out here pretty soon on Netflix. I really want to watch that one. I need to review Black Mirror, but it's like just finding the time to review everything. because I want to review Black Mirror episodes individually because I felt like thematically they're all different. They all are thematically all different. So is Coco my favorite Pixar film? I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Wait. Gotham by Gaslight came out today. Hold on a minute. Ein Minuten bitte. Let me go take a look at something real quick. Because oh shit, yeah, dude. Let me just bring that up. Okay. I gotta order it later on. Yeah, I gotta watch that because I like the concept of Gotham by Gaslight, so I'll check it out. The DC movies are freaking fantastic, man. They're just fantastic. All right, Solo: A Star Wars Story live reaction gone sexual. I cry. Yeah, that'd be a good title. That'd be a good title. I was actually told that like my titles are too informative, so I got to work on that too. I got to make them like less clickbaity but as interesting. Okay, so Redskin fan, I don't know if Solo is going to be ass. I hope it's not, but it could entirely be. All right, we're 10 minutes into this here. Let's get going. 11 minutes in, so people who are going to be coming in have already come in. We got 80 people in here. Fantastic. Still haven't seen Black Lightning yet, man. It's the thing is, it's like I don't have cable television, so if I have Hulu, and the fact that they moved everything to Netflix for the end of the season, it just kind of screws me, unless I want to sail the high seas, if you know what I mean. So there's definitely that. All right, let's jump in this here. Okay, so as we know, today is clearly the 23rd of January 2018. What am I talking about? Today, my friends, is January 23rd, 2018, and the Oscars have been the nominations have been announced here. This is going to be interesting because this is a year where we're seeing the Academy open up its voting, right? Open up the people who could come on in. It's going from like 6,000 to like a lot more, I think. And so we're going to see a lot more diverse nominations, right? The normal Oscar bait fare, I would say, is as far as we know, is going to be not as prevalent. And take a look here at just Best Picture of the Year. You've got Call Me by Your Name, which has got that's the one with Armie Hammer, I believe, right? That's the one where he has a sexual encounter with a 14-year-old boy in Italy in the 1970s, or a teenager in Italy. The age of consent was 14. I know that much. You have The Darkest Hour, right? Again, the whole thing with Winston Churchill and Gary Oldman winning Best Actor at the SAG Awards the other night. That's a big thing too. So those two movies right there, along with Dunkirk here, and Phantom Thread and The Post, and what's this that one? And Three Billboards feel like they are clearly, Oscar bait. Whereas Lady Bird has probably gotten a lot farther than it should have. Lady Bird is nominated, but it's not going to win. However, Greta Gerwig on her first feature film directorial debut is getting an Oscar nom. Same with Jordan Peele's Get Out. That's no small feat. People want Get Out to win. Get Out is not going to win. It's not going to win. It's probably either going to be The Shape of Water or The Phantom Thread. I'm calling that now. Shape of Water is going to do very, very well at the Oscars, I think. Guillermo del Toro, from my understanding, brought it. I haven't seen the movie yet. I very much want to. Phantom Thread could also probably do very well because of, Daniel Day-Lewis and everything else. And so I think these are the ones we're looking at here that are interesting. So you've also got the Best Actor in Leading Role, Daniel Day-Lewis, obviously, for his last role. So that kind of feels like an Academy no-brainer. Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. You have to find it interesting that you've got Roman J. Israel Esquire. I always find this interesting when the Best Actor is not in the best movie, right? I just find that to be interesting. Because, again, like, how does the Academy judge these things, so to speak? Then you've got Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role, Frances McDormand, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Sally Hawkins, Shape of Water, Meryl Streep for The Post, and Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird. If I had to guess on this one, it's probably going to be either Frances McDormand or Meryl Streep, probably more for Streep, but I would say there could be some upsets and Sally Hawkins take it. I haven't seen I, Tonya yet, but I hear it's good. Being a Portland-born native during the Tonya Harding scandal in the 1990s, that film's a little personal to me, a little bit personal in that regard. I still need to check it out when I can. You've got Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World. This just feels like a gimme. You know, this just feels like the Academy is like, well, he came in last minute and he did it over the course of 10 days and it got rid of that pesky molester Kevin Spacey. Let's just give him the nomination. You got Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, and Jenkins is a very solid actor who I don't think gets as much love. Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project. He's also an amazing actor. Sam Rockwell is great. Woody Harrelson is great. But you got 2 supporting actor nominations for the same movie. Tells me right there that they're not going to win. Christopher Plummer's not going to win. I'm going to probably say Dafoe. My guess is Dafoe. I haven't seen Florida Project, but if I'm just going to call out what I think it's going to be Dafoe. You got Best Performance by an Actress in a Supporting Role. Allison Janney for I, Tonya. Leslie Manfield for Phantom Thread. Octavia Spencer. Laurie Metcalf. And Mary J. Blige. Now, here's the thing with Mary J. Blige. Mudbound is a Netflix movie. A Netflix movie is up for an Oscar. That is no small feat at all. Is she going to win? The answer to that is no. But just the fact that she was nominated, and nominated twice, because she's also nominated for Best Original Song or whatever, is a very big thing for Netflix. I haven't seen any of these movies, so I'm just going to go on a whim, and I'm going to probably say Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird is what I'm calling. You got now Achievement in Directing. Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk. Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird. Guillermo del Toro for Shape of Water. Jordan Peele, Get Out. Paul Thomas Anderson, Phantom Thread. Let's be realistic here. It's going to boil down to either the 3 on the left, and it's probably going to go to Paul Thomas Anderson. That's what I think. Best Original Screenplay is probably going to go to The Big Sick, if I had to guess here. So you got Get Out, Big Sick, 3 Billboards, Lady Bird, and Shape of Water. I just feel like, to me, the way Big Sick was heavily championed throughout kind of indie cinema and everything else, and the story being real, and that it's a real life love story with technically a real life Hollywood ending, so to speak. Ultimately, this is what we're going to see as being the winner. Best Adapted Screenplay, Call Me By Your Name, Logan, Molly's Game, Mudbound, The Disaster Artist. Now, this is a tough one because The Disaster Artist, this is the only nomination it's gotten. James Franco was screwed out of Best Actor because of the Me Too movement. Absolutely. There's no question about that in my mind. So I don't quite know if it's going to win. I don't know if it would win Best Adapted Screenplay, to be honest with you. I felt the script was good, but it wasn't as good as, let's say, Logan. Logan was just excellent all the way through. The fact that this is, the fact that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture or James Mangold for Best Director or Hugh Jackman for Best Actor, it shows you the bias in terms of how the Academy views these kind of movies, because people are upset that Wonder Woman got snubbed, right? They're super upset that Wonder Woman got snubbed, but Logan, they're like, oh, no one's batting an eye at Logan. Logan is a fucking masterpiece, man. It's just a masterpiece. That movie filled me with so much emotion at the end of it. I was like, when she turns the cross, you're just like, I'm not crying. You're crying, goddamn, it's a good movie. But again, Mudbound. Okay, Mudbound did get nominated here too for Best Adapted. Again, Netflix movie. So that's some stuff here. Now, one of the movies I do feel got snubbed was for Best Picture, Best Director, was Blade Runner 2049. Roger Deakins' work as a cinematographer is well deserved here. That movie has excellent cinematography, and I feel Denis Villeneuve, if I'm saying that correctly this time, did an amazing job directing Blade Runner. It is a fantastic movie, such an excellent slow burn adventure that ultimately I did not want to end. I was having so much fun with it, and I'm bummed that it didn't get any more recognition in the higher up categories. Darkest Hour is also up there, Mudbound, Dunkirk, and Shape of Water. I'm going to probably say here that Deakins is going to pull it. If I'm, again, making just my guess, Deakins on this one. Because you can't beat Deakins. You can't beat Deakins, But again, Mudbound is getting a lot of love. I need to watch that on Netflix. I still haven't watched that one yet. Best Achievement in Costume Design, Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, Shape of Water, Phantom Thread, Victoria, and Abdul. Well, let's break it down to ultimately what the 2 contenders are, because there's going to be 2. Beauty and the Beast and Shape of Water. That is what's going to be looked at here. And I'm going to probably say that Beauty and the Beast is going to take it home. I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast, but I think ultimately I'd prefer to see The Shape of Water based on just what I've seen. The other ones, they are what they are. But ultimately it's going to boil down to those 2. Best Achievement in Sound Mixing, Baby Driver, Blade Runner, Dunkirk, Star Wars, Shape of Water. Now, I'm surprised that Star Wars didn't get more nominations, to be honest with you. Sound mixing, I'm going to have to probably give it to Baby Driver. I thought the mix on that was fantastic. Blade Runner was great. Star Wars was good for that too. Haven't seen Dunkirk or Shape of Water yet, so I can't say, but I would argue that these are all probably contenders, right? These are probably all good contenders. Best achievement in film editing. Baby Driver is going to probably get it. That movie was so well edited. It was so well put together. It flowed so perfectly that I have a feeling it's going to get it. And I would argue that anything Edgar Wright touches should automatically be pretty much placed into the award season category for everything. Best achievement in sound editing. Again, it's going to go between Star Wars and it's going to go between Baby Driver, I think. Blade Runner was pretty good. Dunkirk, with the way that the sound design and the sound editing were, from what just on the trailers that I've seen, looks pretty good. But ultimately, I don't think we're in really a space with the Academy right now for war movies. Star Wars, because of its progressive nature, might actually stand more of a chance because it got snubbed in other places. But I do feel it's probably going to be Baby Driver. Best achievements in visual effects. This is a big one here because all of these movies have insane visual effects. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I do believe, is going to take it. The visual effects in that movie were utterly fantastic. They were just freaking amazing. They were so good. Star Wars looked really good as well, but you could tell that it was CG. You could tell that the visual effects were there, but the way that it looked in Guardians was just kind of like, it felt like Rocket felt real, like realer than real in some cases. Not breaking Uncanny Valley, but just felt real. Blade Runner had excellent visual effects, but ultimately the cinematography is what sells that movie. War for the Planet of the Apes looked wonderful, but Matthew Reeves didn't get a lot of love for it this year, even though Fox was gunning for it to be their Best Picture nom instead of Logan. Or that was, kind of dumb. Kong Skull Island looked good, but ultimately it's not going to pull it in. Best achievement in makeup and hairstyling, let's go to Darkest Hour. That's already going to be that one. Best achievement in music written for a motion picture. It's going to more or less boil down to Coco and probably The Greatest Showman are probably going to be the two that are going to be the front runners for this one. Probably going to go to Coco. It's Disney. They put more money into this kind of stuff because they want those nominations. Best achievement in music written for a motion picture, original score. So you got Dunkirk's Hans Zimmer. You got John Williams. I don't know if they're going to give it to John Williams or not. I feel like John Williams probably would be like the top contender. But then again, like the score for The Last Jedi feels very similar to the score for the other movies as well. And that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. But I think because Star Wars was snubbed in other places, they might give it to it here. Best animated short film. Don't know. I haven't seen any of them. Let me just take a quick look here. Garden Party. I'm calling Garden Party based on just a poster alone. That's my prediction for that. Best live action short film. Hell, I never watched any of these. Let's go with the Caleb Elementary. Why not? Best documentary short. I don't know, man. Traffic Stop just has a cool poster. So let's go for that. Best documentary feature. These ones I do like to watch later on. The Last Man in Aleppo. You know what? My gut's going for Strong Island here. Again, I know nothing of these. I'm just kind of running through it. The best foreign language film of the year. Oh, shit. I don't know what any of these are. Let's just say Loveless. Why not? Little boy kind of crying. Want some love. Academy, hook him up. Best animated feature film. And this is where I find it to be very odd. The Boss Baby was nominated. I couldn't even finish the movie. I tried. It was so bad. Ferdinand. It just, again, that one looked really stupid. But Coco is going to be where it's at. Right? Like, they lost out for Cars. They didn't even get nominated for Cars 3. Pixar had 2 movies this year. Didn't even get nominated for Cars 3. But Coco is one that deals with a lot of very kind of interesting subject matter. So ultimately, they're going to very much be pushing for that. Best achievement in production design. It's going to boil down to Blade Runner or Shape of Water, I think. The production design in Beauty and the Beast was good, but there was so much abundance, so much use CG that it felt like it to me just like it was too much on the screen. You know, I mean, I get it given like, you know, Mrs. Potts and Codsworth and Lumiere and everything else, and plus Dan Stevens as the Beast himself. But ultimately, I think Blade Runner, the production design there, the aesthetic of it was so wonderful, and also The Shape of Water feels like it's going to be very good. And then you've got Special Achievement Award. The winner is Alejandro Inarritu, which is, where's he been since Revenant, man? And then you got a couple of things down here. And of course, I was looking at Jenna Jameson's IMDb page. So because it shows you the last one that you looked at. So the 90th Academy Awards, right? We can see the films that they're going for. We can see that the technical categories are going to go, I think, to like Blade Runner or Baby Driver is what I'm predicting is going to have more of a win there. The Shape of Water have a better shot, I think, at some of the upper categories. But ultimately, none of these really speak out to me as being like, you know, oh, I need to sit down and watch this kind of stuff. I don't need to watch this at all. Although I will admit I was wrong about Mary J. Blige. I thought she was nominated. I guess I was wrong on that one. Yeah, I like the fact that Mudbound is getting attention because it's a Netflix film, and they're getting a lot of love, which is good. I like the fact that Get Out and Lady Bird are two movies you wouldn't necessarily expect to end up in this category, especially Get Out. So that's pretty cool. And everything else feels like standard Oscar fare. These are the type of movies that, I mean, Get Out worked very well with the, you know, with the audiences, but still, like, the fact that it's cleaning up in the award season is pretty good. Plus, here's the thing, Jason Blum is going to use this because, you know, he produced the movie and Blumhouse Productions and everything else is just a force to be reckoned with when it comes to Hollywood. But I find it here that The Post, which was produced by Amy Pascal, I don't want it to win simply because of that. I don't want her to have anything. Spielberg is, you know, when a movie is up for Best Picture, and the only other one that it really had was Best Actor or Best Actress, and not even Best Director, you can tell that that's more like just kind of a gimme sort of thing. I want to see The Post. I hear it's very good, but it's definitely not going to win, even amidst this current climate. But the real question is, are you guys even going to watch it when it comes out on March 3rd? All right. That was a long one. Holy crap. That was a lot of stuff to go through there. Whoo, man. What do you guys think is going to win Best Picture? I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to win Best Picture? I want to know. Lady Bird is horrible. I want to see it. I'll check it out. I think the Lego movie got snubbed too. Might be fun to watch this get wasted, make fun of it. Yeah, I agree. No, I want to see The Post. I have to get to the theater more often. So Blumhouse, yeah, has a lot of content coming out. Trump hating award show. It's possible. It's entirely possible that they're going to have a lot of Trump hating on that. I don't know. I don't know at all. They might. Anything can happen, man. Anything can happen with the Oscars. So the CG on Kurt Russell making me young was spot on. Perfect visual effects. Yeah. Well, the CG from that you can tell was clearly updated from Civil War. And like how they've been really working on that technology. So it's pretty good. You think controversy will win Best Picture? Well, what's controversial? So that's a question. What is controversial, man? What is it? What is it? Am I upset that Wonder Woman got snubbed? No, but it's actually the next story here. So let's jump right into that. So here we go. Wonder Woman was completely snubbed by Oscar voters. Now, this is something that is ultimately shocking to many people out there. They are upset at this because they thought Wonder Woman was clearly going to get nominations. There was talks about that from back in June when the movie opened. When it opened and everyone gave this thunderous applause as to what Wonder Woman was. This spectacle of a film, this rebirth for the DCEU, this path forward for female superheroes, this path forward for female-led action movies, this path forward for female directors. It was meant to be this beacon of light that was supposedly going to clean up at the Oscars and other award shows. It didn't. It just didn't. Had a lot to do mostly with the fact that it was just a superhero movie. It's an origin story. Kind of like Captain America First Avenger. Very similar. Just kind of gender swapped. Both are good movies, but are they award worthy? Probably not, but they made a lot of money. So it says here, Wonder Woman has been completely snubbed by the Academy. The 2018 Oscar nominations were released today, and though they were full of plenty of surprises, and many of the right movies and individuals are nominated in their respective categories, Wonder Woman didn't earn a single nomination. This despite the fact that Warner's had high hopes and campaigned rather hard to get the movie at least a few nominations. Now, this is one of the things you have to understand about the Academy. They put so much money out there. It's really about who has the most money to put into these campaigns. Harvey Weinstein was a master of this. He would spend so much money on his marketing campaigns for these movies. But ultimately, the Academy, over the course of the past last couple of years, especially this last year, changed how they were doing the membership category. So they actually opened it up to more people to come in and started booting out other people who weren't active in movies, trying to get rid of the old and usher in the new. And it was a controversial move, but this is now what we're seeing as a result of this. What we're seeing are these films that wouldn't technically normally be nominated, and the ones that, you feel like our Oscar bait would, but it would completely overshadow something that is like Wonder Woman. Because when you start breaking it down and you look at the type of people that are coming into the mix, the ones that they're trying to include, the super inclusive types, does Wonder Woman even really fit that mold? Now, it says here, it's one of the true surprises of 2017. The live-action DC movies as of late, especially the ones that preceded, left a lot to be desired. I disagree. Both Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Extended Cut were freaking excellent. Excellent. Fight me on that one, bro. Especially in the eyes of critics. No one cares what critics thinks. No one really does. They don't at all. Wonder Woman changed all that. The movie managed to be a huge critical success, currently boasting a 92% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, with the site recently naming it the best reviewed superhero movie of all time. This gave Warner Brothers the confidence to actively campaign and get the movie some Oscar nominations, but that effort and whatever money they spent was all for nothing. Here's the thing. When it comes to the market share of Hollywood, Warner's actually is the top spot. It's Warner's and then Disney, like right underneath it. Warner's puts out a lot of movie every single year. Why they were campaigning for Wonder Woman over, let's say, Dunkirk is kind of beyond me. I mean, Dunkirk is a Warner's that ended up getting nominated, but they should have put that money behind Blade Runner 2049 because that movie was a true tour de force. Wonder Woman was serviceable. It was good. It was fun, but it's simple. Blade Runner is complex. It's deep. It's emotional. You're in this world that you don't want to leave when the adventure is over. But with Wonder Woman, you were like, bring me Justice League, right? That was the difference of the type of movie. Now, money isn't the issue when it comes to Wonder Woman, though. The movie made $821 million worldwide, making it one of the biggest hits of last year overall. That part cannot be denied. Earning even a couple of Oscar nominations would have really iced the cake for this truly remarkable movie. What about it is remarkable, though? I just kind of have to ask that question now. What about Wonder Woman is remarkable? I liked it. I really, really, really liked it. I just watched it again a couple weeks ago, still really enjoyed it. But it's a simple process. It's a simple movie. How is it remarkable? I mean, if you ask anyone that, the general idea is going to come back and say, well, it stars a woman. That's their bar for remarkability. I love that they always do that, even though they always overlook other movies, other franchises that have female leads. They always tend to do that every single time. It's one of the weirdest things. Hollywood has like the shortest memory for that kind of representation, unless you're accused of sexual assault or something, and then it's like, whoa, we go back 20 years on this shit, if not longer. Unfortunately, it was a very crowded race this year, and the Academy couldn't make any more room for many comic book movies. Though Logan did score a nomination in the Best Adapted Screenplay category, which is rather surprising. Yeah, because it should have gotten Best Picture. Sorry, Hugh Jackman, Best Actor. James Mangold, Best Director. I stand by that statement. We're still waiting for a comic book movie that can overcome the odds and score a Best Picture nomination, and many thought that Wonder Woman was going to be able to do it. Didn't The Dark Knight I know Heath Ledger was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but I thought Dark Knight was nominated for Best Picture. I could be wrong on that one. Though the real snub in many will be the fact that Patty Jenkins didn't get a Best Director nomination for her work. Women are rarely nominated in the category, but many felt Jenkins had a very good shot for one at Wonder Woman, and many fans are behind her that said that a petition was created when she was snubbed by the Golden Globes. Women directors weren't totally left out from the Oscar noms this year. You had Greta Gerwig, who scored her work on Lady Bird, which some people have told me that is very boring. And I looked at the trailer, and I can honestly say that I do kind of agree. But then again, look at what Patty Jenkins did. She won, I think, Best Director for Monster back in 2003, the Charlize Theron movie, or 2002, 2003. And that was a good movie. But then again, she was coming into an already kind of homogenized world. She did make Wonder Woman her own, but at the same time, she was still trapped by the vision Zack Snyder had. Snyder never wins awards, but he does create visual feasts that are amazing to behold. Like, I'm sorry, Watchmen movie's 9 years old, but that thing is still a cinematic masterpiece. Whether or not you like the movie or not, you cannot deny that that movie is just beautiful to watch. But ultimately, yeah, Patty Jenkins, I don't really feel like, I think she did a good job and she'll probably do better on the sequel, but I feel like this was more of a pandering nomination than anything else. Now, Gal Gadot was forgotten as Best Actress as well, but it was unlikely she was ever going to get nominated. Yeah. Gal Gadot's good. I like her, but she's no Meryl Streep. So ultimately, people are mad at this. Feminists are very upset about this. They feel that it's a snub for this particular character. Diana Prince, her not being nominated doesn't take away from the success of the movie. But that ultimately is what happens in these particular categories. I'm not saying that I myself aren't guilty of doing something very similar, because I totally am. I'm very, 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 very guilty of tying a film's overall success to whether or not it gets an award. I was like that a long time ago. Not so much anymore. Because look, the movie is the movie. I have the Blu-ray, I can pop it in, I can watch it anytime I want and enjoy the hell out of it. Whether or not it has an Oscar or a Golden Globe or whatever really means nothing to me. And ultimately it means nothing to everyone else. But when people get really mad over this kind of stuff, I think it says a lot more about them than it does. And what I love is that the petition for her to get to get the nominations was met more with applause, whereas people were trying to get the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, and that was met with mockery and scorn. So there is clearly a bit of a bias, and a hypocritical one at that, when you try to compare Wonder Woman to the rest of the DCEU and the fans' reactions of such. But the Oscars are the Oscars, and there's always going to be 2020 after Wonder Woman 2 comes out right in the middle of freaking Oscar season. All right. Dark Knight got snubbed. Dark Knight did get snubbed. 300 was better. 300 was good. 300 was great. But man, I love me some Watchmen. So you think Gal Gadot can hardly act? I think she can act. I think she did pretty well. I think she's getting better than she was, let's say, in Fast and Furious from 2009. That's like saying Fast and Furious deserves awards. It fucking does. Fast and Furious is my jam, dude. Do I even have them over here? Yeah, I don't want to pull them out. I got the whole set down there. I look, to me, Fast and Furious movies are straight up my guilty pleasure. I have no problem beating that. So did Zack Snyder cut? Did the Zack Snyder cut people get a vote in this? No, they did not. All right, let's go over here. So I've talked about this one before. So Black Widow. This is a movie that was announced a couple weeks ago. I didn't cover it the first time around, but now we're getting rumor that is being planned for a 2020 release date. And that kind of makes sense, especially with Wonder Woman pulling in $821 million in the box office, and there being all the talks about the Silver Sable Black Cat movie and the Harley Quinn going over to Birds of Prey or Gotham City Sirens, whatever they're doing with that. Clearly, I guess you could say that the future is female in terms of a lot of these movies. And also, I don't want to forget Captain Marvel as well. And so giving Scarlett Johansson a movie that I feel probably is long overdue is a good thing. So it says here that the long-awaited Black Widow solo movie may be coming to theaters sooner than we expected. A new report suggests that the female-led Marvel Cinematic Universe film could come only 2 years after it was announced to be in development, which is entirely fine with this particular writer. A report from the Daily Mail claims that a script for the Black Widow solo movie is already in the works, with Marvel targeting a 2020 release date. Now, the script for the movie is an interesting one. I did mention this on the stream the other day, is that what you've got is it's the same woman who wrote the Olaf's Frozen Adventure, right? Like, she's the one writing the Black Widow solo film. And that movie, that short film was not well received at all. And Frozen's one of the biggest animated movies ever. So when the short film is received so horribly that Disney has to pull it from the screenings, that's a bit of a problem. So I don't quite know what it's going to do, but given the current state of the MCU and where things are at, I'm really wondering where they're going to take the character. Now, the source told the Daily Mail that Scarlett Johansson has signed on to the film for a $25 million deal, and that Jude Law and Ben Mendelsohn, both of whom are confirmed to star in Marvel's only other female-led film, Captain Marvel, are being eyed as potential co-stars. Which, that's interesting to me, considering the fact that Captain Marvel is set in the 1990s. And this one is going to have to be set in, well, basically the end of the 2010s, right there at the beginning of 2020, going into the second decade. So ultimately, that's going to be a very interesting scenario, because how much older are they going to be? We're talking like the same kind of technology that they used on Robert Downey Jr. and Kurt Russell from Captain America: Civil War, Guardians of the Galaxy. Never mind Michael Douglas, the younging on him for the opening of Ant-Man. Granted, Disney's been playing with that technology quite a bit, so they're probably going to want to figure out a way to maybe age them up a bit more or something, or de-age them for Captain Marvel and then make them their current age for this one. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Now, the $25 million paycheck would push Johansson to the top of the highest paid actress list in Hollywood. Earnings from the movie could lead the actress to walk away with $30 million, but it would still place her well below Avengers Infinity co-star Robert Downey Jr., whose base salary for Age of Ultron was reportedly $40 million. It was also reportedly $40 million for Captain America: Civil War. In fact, that was actually one of the big moments that caused the division between Marvel Studios and Marvel Television. Mostly because of the conflict between Kevin Feige and Ike Perlmutter. Ike Perlmutter was the person who was pulling all the purse strings at Marvel at the time when this Captain America Civil War thing was happening, and they wanted to bring in Robert Downey Jr. Kevin Feige met with resistance. He then went to Bob Iger and told Iger, listen, I'm going to quit if I have to deal with this guy. Essentially, Iger stepped in, told Perlmutter, Kevin Feige answers to me now, and you get Marvel Television. So if you're asking yourself why the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which has now 5 or 6 different television shows that are tied to the greater MCU, aren't in the MCU, that is the reason. I'm not even making that up. That's exactly the reason. That is why we are where we are. I really wish Bob Iger would go in and then just, take over completely so we can make the MCU whole again. But that being said, I just want to kind of put out that I'm still a little annoyed at that myself. So that's one of the reasons why I want to bring it up. Now it says here that it shall be taken with a healthy heaping of salt. Daily Mail doesn't have the most stellar track record when it comes to scoops. That's very true. And but it says here, how could it impact the Marvel Phase 4 movie release calendar? So what it says here is we've written before about the mysterious Phase 4, which has been heavily shrouded in mystery after the still untitled Avengers 4 opens in theaters May 2019. The world-altering events of Avengers 4 promises to shake up the entire cinematic universe, putting an end to a few beloved series while opening the door for others. Could Black Widow be one of the movies released soon after Avengers 4? Here is the list. So what we got is Thor Ragnarok, which is, already out, obviously. Black Panther comes out in just a few weeks. Yes. Avengers Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, all come out this year. So then you've got Captain Marvel, then Avengers 4, then Spider-Man. So 3 movies coming out the next couple years. May 1st, 2020, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is what they're suggesting. I agree with that. August 7th, 2020, maybe Black Widow. November 6th, probably Doctor Strange 2, because we know that movie did well enough to warrant getting a sequel, obviously. Then you've got Spider-Man Homecoming 3, probably 2021. That does make a lot of sense. The unannounced Marvel movie, late 2021, probably Ant-Man 3. Captain Marvel 2, early 2022. Avengers 5, summer 2022. Possibly Secret Invasion or Secret Wars, unannounced. Marvel movie, late 2022. So that could be a thing. But at the same time, here's something to consider. The Fox deal with Disney is set to take place in 2020, right? So whatever they've got, and this is just the MCU right here. We're not even talking about the Fox films. So these dates, these 3 films a year could easily expand to like 6 or 7 movies a year. Probably, I'd say 5 or 6 movies a year. It could easily expand to that. That wouldn't be much of a problem at all because the market already wants it. The market's already ready for it. And if it's all under one umbrella, you know, and it's still like you got 20th Century Fox releasing these movies and then you've got Marvel Studios releasing these movies, then it can be argued that it's not, you know, oversaturating the market, which it clearly would be. But they are probably going to be bringing in X-Men and other characters. The 2020s for this situation for Phase 4 is probably being retooled entirely to wrap up. And if you look at this here too, you've got Ant-Man 3 possibly in 2021, okay, which at that point in time would make it obviously they'd want to wrap up that trilogy. Same with maybe Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be wrapping up, and that's going to be opening it up to the cosmos side of things, or cosmic side of things. And they're probably going to want to do another Doctor Strange and a bunch of other stuff as well. So it's weird to see what Marvel's up to. I don't quite know yet what to expect. If this movie is coming out, they're going to probably want to get it out as soon as possible because Scarlett Johansson is maybe not the best actress in the world, but she's definitely an in-demand actress. And if it's in Disney's best interest right now to keep these things moving forward. So what do you guys think? You think this is going to be well, no, keep Burnout. It's speculative for Captain Marvel 2, but they've spent a lot of time getting Brie Larson kind of ready for this. They've made a big deal about Brie Larson being Captain Marvel and how it's going to tie into everything. So I'm pretty sure they're already prepping us. They signed these actors to like 9 movie deals. You know what I mean? Are people getting tired of superhero movies? Frogdalus, the answer ultimately no. I don't think they are. I don't think they are at all. I think people like them provided the stories work. The greater cinematic universe aspect is going to be pulled back, I think, a little bit in terms of DC because they're having trouble with that unit cohesion. But Marvel is built to that, and it's a machine you can't stop. There might be better movies than other movies. You know, some are going to be better than others, obviously. But I think ultimately they've got a plan. And once they get through this first stretch and they can experiment a bit more, I think we're going to see a lot of cool stuff come out of that. So Scarlett needs a boob reduction. What kind of comment is that's a weird comment. Captain Marvel is probably going to be the first SJW Marvel infected film. I don't actually disagree with you there. I don't disagree with you there at all. I think that is going to be a thing. And that's, you know, it is what it is. You can you can like it or not like it, but that is kind of the world we live in at this moment in time. All right, let's jump over here to the Barbie movie. So a couple years ago, it was announced that Sony Pictures with Amy Pascal was working on the Barbie movie, getting ready to star Amy Schumer. A movie that was heavily marked by a number of people online, myself included, simply because it was absolutely insane that this would be a reality. But then, of course, Amy Schumer backed out of the project, or was, I think, backed off or pushed off a cliff in all reality. We got Anne Hathaway to step in, and now the movie moves to 2020. So it says here, Sony is shifting the fish out of water tale from August 8th, 2018 to May 8th, 2020, meaning that the movie set to open in 8 months hasn't even shot yet. Right? So, I mean, it was never going to reach this date to begin with. Sony is moving the Anne Hathaway starring Long in the Works Barbie project to 2020. The fish out of water tale, directed by Australian director Althea Jones, will now premiere May 8th, 2020, kicking off the summer that year after moving from the original launch date of August 8th, 2018. See, the thing with that, too, is this is opening the week after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which means that the Barbie movie is going to be absolutely swallowed in the box office. This is probably going to change this date. I don't think that the Barbie movie is going to work out. Amy Pascal, Walter F. Parks, and Laurie McDonald are producing the project based upon the classic Barbie mythology. What the hell? What is classic Barbie mythology, right? I don't really think there's a super in-depth Tolkien-esque, history here. You're not going to be able to pull out catalog after catalog of the golden age of Barbie when plastic and, ruled the earth and Ken had a functioning penis. That never happened, right? At least not in this reality. But then again, the Mandela effect is apparently a thing, so we never know. But anyway, it's going to be putting a contemporary spin on the toy with an emphasis on feminism and identity. Here we go. So, confirmed. And we already knew it was going to be confirmed anyway, once Amy Schumer backed out, which was all about probably fat acceptance, let's be fair. And then now it's going to Anne Hathaway. It's going to be all about feminism and identity, and Anne Hathaway is pretty outspoken feminist. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays into it. Now, granted, listen, I'm not against the movie itself running on this particular ideology. I'm actually not. If it handles it in a way that is poignant and it's succinct and its social commentary is there, then it's entirely possible that they'll be able to craft a tale that touches upon these issues that do have an impact on young women and young girls and even young boys in that particular effect, right? Like one of the things that, you know, I think about now being a father is I look at my daughter and I wonder what she's going to think of her body when she gets older. I'm a big person. I'm a big guy. If we have a lot of the same genetics, she might be a wider framed individual. She might have that. And I don't want her ever to think that her body is bad. I don't want her ever to have a negative thought in her mind. I want to protect her and look after her. That's my job as a dad. And if a movie like this can touch upon some of those body issues in a way that is not only positive, but informative and supportive without being a pandering pile of shit, then it might have the impact that they're looking for. That's in a perfect world. It's not going to actually happen. What I would like to see happen, what I would do if I was writing that type of script, how I'd like to actually play upon the equality for all situation while talking about these issues from that perspective, it's not going to happen. This is Amy fucking Pascal that's involved with this thing, right? Amy Pascal, who helped usher in Ghostbusters 2016, a movie all of us would like to forget ultimately. All right, this is going to be about feminism and identity in 2018, or at this point, 2020. The regressive nature of current modern age feminism has gotten to the point now where they are literally leading a witch hunt through Hollywood in terms of Me Too. This is where things are at. So this movie is not going to be an equally handled subject matter. This is going to be regressive 101, using Barbie as a catalyst. This movie is going to not only completely crap upon the Barbie name in an attempt to deconstruct the idea of the character, it's going to just burn the whole thing down. Watch that not go over well. No, I'm serious. Watch that not go over well, because you still have countless women who grew up with Barbie, who still love Barbie for what Barbie represented when they were a child, that are going to look at this and go, no. And you're going to have your feminists running out there saying, oh my God, this is like the best movie ever. Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be through the roof. It's going to be the best reviewed movie based upon a toy ever. Watch. Sony is going to sit there and use Rotten Tomatoes scores and all of its marketing just like it did with freaking Ghostbusters, and ultimately the movie's going to crash and burn. People don't want to have these type of topics shoved down their throat. Like I said, tact is what's going to be needed to tell this particular story. They're giving themselves 2 more years, or well, roughly about a year and a half, to work on it. It's not going to go the way that they want. Now it says here, the script, now to receive more work, portrays a woman that slowly awakens to the fact that she doesn't fit into the perfect land of Barbies and journeys to the real world where she discovers that being unique is an asset. So it's basically Barbie, Special Snowflake Edition. That's what they're going to try to do. Now, we all know how far that mentality has gotten us in the modern age. Do you think it's going to slow down in the next 2 years? Probably not. I mean, it's taken a bit of a hit and people are standing up and speaking back out against it. But when you've got, you know, like the Women's March is kind of propelling this thing forward, from my honest opinion. The Women's March and Harvey Weinstein situation, propelling this thing forward. I'd like it to be a positive message for everybody. I would, honestly. It's just not going to happen. If it's about a Barbie that slowly awakens to the fact that she doesn't fit into the perfect land of Barbies and journeys to the real world where she discovers that being unique is an asset. Aren't all Barbies, okay, just to kind of tear that part apart, aren't all Barbies essentially unique? No, ultimately, every Barbie that comes out is a variation of another Barbie, right? President Barbie, astronaut Barbie, race car Barbie, slutty porn star version Barbie. They're all different Barbies. Like, they all come from a multiverse of Barbies. And if they're all living in like a Barbie land, then they're all going to be unique in the Barbie land. So what exactly is it that's going to be so perfect that she's not unique enough to be in a perfect world, or everyone is already different based upon their make. And then she's going to come in the real world? No, that's a recipe for a disaster. Richard Dixon, president and COO of Mattel, is executive producing. Sony announced also that it's giving Superfly a reboot. I don't care about that. But ultimately, the Barbie movie, I do believe it's going to crash and burn. Feminism be damned. You're not going to be able to stop this train wreck. Richard Dixon, COO of Mattel, if you want to save this thing, and I believe you do, oust Amy Pascal, bring in somebody else, ditch this particular concept, make it basically Ella Enchanted, but with Barbies, and call it a freaking day. Oh, that's going to be so fucking horrible. Let's talk about Star Wars. Nothing really to talk about Star Wars right now. Yeah, Daniel, the poor Barbie movie is going to be ruined. Oh my God. Death Note all over again. No, it's so it's Anne Hathaway is starring in the movie. Amy Pascal is producing the movie. HP Studios says, I think Sony's running out of ideas. I mean, Barbie's a movie based upon the Barbie mythology. I know, right? What does that even mean? You'd watch a Baz Luhrmann directed Barbie movie. I'm sure it would be full of spectacle and flair and dance numbers, which I'm not against. So, I mean, it can't be any worse than The Great Gatsby. I can't talk about the Solo movie yet, Claudio, because there's nothing new on the Solo movie. The only thing I've seen new on the Solo movie, essentially, is just the, what's it called? It's just the, there was a behind-the-scenes photo that came out of a set that looked pretty cool. So there's definitely that. But okay, let's see. The Oscar segment took a little bit longer than I wanted. I'm also wanting to just do one more. Okay. Well, scheisse. Okay. We'll do this one, and then we'll wrap it up. So, RoboCop. 1987 RoboCop. This movie came out when I was 5 years old. And when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I wanted nothing more than to go and see it myself. I did. I wanted nothing more than to go and watch this movie. You know, when he says dead or alive, you're coming with me. I think that was in the trailer. I remember it being in the trailer. I wanted to see this movie. And my mom was like, the movie looks a little bit too violent for a 5-year-old. And I'm like, silly woman, take me to the theater. She didn't. She went on a date with a guy to go see the movie. Left me home with her friend and her friend's boyfriend. And they brought over Bloodsport. So instead of seeing an R-rated RoboCop, I saw R-rated Bloodsport. And you know what? Man, I love me Bloodsport. That was such a good freaking movie, right? But when I finally got around to watching RoboCop when I was a little bit older, oh, did I fall in love with that movie. And when I got around to seeing basically the unrated, or the what's known as the X-rated cut of Verhoeven's RoboCop, when you just see chunks of flesh fly off of the body when they're killing him, it's just great, man. It's great, awesome. I love Verhoeven. I want him to do this. Anyway, much like the new Terminator movie going into development from James Cameron, it's learned that RoboCop franchise is going a similar route. So they're doing a reboot sequel, kind of a sequel to the 1987 one. Now, a lot of people looked at the 2014 version of RoboCop and they didn't like it. I'm actually of the exact opposite belief. I loved it. I loved Samuel Jackson's character pushing that kind of bigotry and prejudice against these types of machines. I liked Joel Kinnaman in the role. I thought he was great. I liked everything about RoboCop. I really, really, really did. The movie itself was a lot of fun, and it was better than it had any reason to be, period. I was always hoping we would have gotten a sequel, but it's okay that we didn't. It was a solid movie in its own right, and I'm sorry if you don't agree with me, but that's simply just my opinion. But the 1987 one, is still one of the top movies to come out of the 80s, and it still holds up to this day because Verhoeven is an excellent director and everything about that movie was great. So in an interview with Zeitgeist magazine, the writer of the 1987 RoboCop movie, Edward Neumeier, reveals that he's currently developing a RoboCop movie that is a sequel to the original. Well, wasn't that RoboCop 2 to be at the same time? I mean, look, we can sit there and completely forget RoboCop 3. We can completely forget RoboCop 3. No one out there who's a fan of the franchise will ever sit there and go, you know what, we should really do a sequel to RoboCop 3. No one. But the reason why you don't want to forget RoboCop 2 is because, for one, it was directed by Irving Kershner, who did Empire Strikes Back. And it was Frank Miller's first screenplay that was made into a film. And so there's a lot of good in RoboCop 2. Well, it's not as good as the first RoboCop. It's not horrible as far as sequel goes. That would be the third movie. He flew. RoboCop flew in that movie. He had jet boots. The 90s were a horrible time for this sort of thing. Anyway, so he says that it's nice that people are still interested in RoboCop, and they have me working on a new one at MGM right now, so maybe we'll get another one out of it. 2 RoboCop movies followed the original, which weren't as well received. The RoboCop was recently rebooted with the Joel Kinnaman 2014 movie that also received a lukewarm response. So Edward Neumeier says they are starting where the original continues. And that's probably for the best. He says, here's what I'll say. We're not supposed to say too much. There's been a bunch of other RoboCop movies, and there was recently a remake, and I would say that this kind of going back to the old RoboCop we all love and starting there and going forward. So it's a continuation of the first movie in my mind. So it's a little bit more of an old school thing. And that's fine. Peter, if you can bring back Peter Weller as old RoboCop, I mean, as old, like he's gone on nearly 35 years later. You know, 30 years, it's 31 years this year. Bring him back as Alex Murphy, and then he's training, like he's out there again, still rocking the streets and stuff as new technology has moved past him. That would be a very interesting thing, you know, talking about like how technology advances and how we retire old technology and that old technology still has the ability to be useful, even if it's not the most sleek and shiny thing out there. I think that would be something pretty cool. It'll be interesting to see what direction Edward Neumeier takes the new RoboCop sequel, as part 2 was okay and part 3 was simply awful. I think we all can agree part 3 was bad. And hopefully they'll keep flying RoboCop out of this one. Yeah. What I want is Verhoeven to come back. I do. I want Verhoeven to come back because that man has made some of my all-time favorite movies, right? RoboCop, Total Recall, Starship Troopers, even Hollow Man, for how bad Hollow Man was at times. Hollow Man was pretty decent, you know, and I think that wasn't the last, I think that was like the last American movie that he made. And I'd love to see him come back and ultimately take on this particular subject matter again, because I think when it came to RoboCop from the 1980s, given the type of satire that they put into it, that it was very much mocking the culture at the time, something like that could easily be replicated now with with I'd say far greater surgical precision in regards to how they want to handle it versus anything else. And I would just absolutely love to see this sort of thing play out in a sequel that is worthy of the original 1987 RoboCop. And who knows, MGM, they've kind of been in a weird place lately. So maybe this will be that big resurgence and people go, oh yeah, you know, because we're in that 80s reboot segment anyway. So I don't know. This is just one that I heard about. I'm excited about. I hope they don't let me down, but it's Hollywood, so they probably will to some extent. But I'll still go in with the highest of hopes. And who knows? maybe we'll get lucky, and he won't fly again. Oh man, we need another Dredd movie. Absolutely agree. Yeah, part 2 was fun bad. Like Lethal Weapon 5. Showgirls. I forgot he did Showgirls. Thank you. I forgot about Showgirls. So he lied to, wait, hold on. Verhoeven's a cocksucker. He lied to Ginny Heinlein about Starship Troopers and now releases shit movies to DVD to keep it from being remade. I don't know about that one, man. Detroit needs an IRL. Yeah. I agree. Imagine SJW RoboCop. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, What about the He-Man movie? He-Man movie is, I think, currently they're working on it to an extent. I think they're working on it still. So, all right, yeah, I got through most of the stuff I wanted to cover today. A couple stories I didn't, but I need to get some stuff out. So I'm definitely gonna wrap this one up because we've been on. The Oscar one went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. That's fine. I'll be back on tomorrow streaming right around probably 1 or so p.m. I'm going to try to keep that as my general time with more stories to cover. Or if you guys find anything that's interesting, you can always head over to mundanemat.com/submit, submit it yourself, or hit me up on the Discord, and the link for that is in the video description. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.